Hey Samantha, this is Mr. Caslin. I just wanted to go over this interest rate problem with you. You know, this is not an easy problem if you've never seen this done before. In fact, I had to look at it for a little while to figure out what I wanted. I was looking for a formula to calculate interest, kind of like our PERT, where your interest is equal to principal times rate times time. Well, it turns out we don't have to use that any of those formulas for this problem. Okay, so it tells us we're looking for a system of equations. So we need two variables. We need two equations. So it also helped me once I read this in more detail. I didn't realize at first that they were looking for the fact that of this $11,800, part of it is invested at 1.75%, and another part of that $11,800 is invested at 2.25%. So they're looking for how much of this principal is invested at this rate and how much at this rate. And together, those two together are going to earn $250. Okay, so the tough part of this, once you see one of these done, another one's not so hard. But the first one's kind of hard. What you have to realize is, well, let's define our variable first. Okay, so as a word problem, we know we need two variables, so we're going to say x is the amount invested at this interest rate, and y is the amount invested in this interest rate. All right, so we need two equations. All right, we need two equations. One of them is just the fact that if you take x, okay, and you add it to y, remember it's the amount invested at one rate plus the amount invested at the other rate. We know that together that's going to equal the $11,800. Okay, so that's one of your equations. So it's a simple equation, but it's not necessarily simple to know that you have to come up with that equation given this information. Okay. Now, if you do this once and you get another problem, then it's a little more obvious, and they're not so hard to do. Okay. So what piece of information haven't we used? We haven't used the interest rates. We haven't used the fact that they earned $250. Okay. So now we're going to do, we know that they earned $250. Okay. We know that there was an amount invested, and if you multiply that amount invested by the percentage rate, now remember you're using percentages, so you're going to change it to decimal. So you're going to slide it over to the left, 0.0175. Okay, so that's the amount of money of the $250. That's how much contributed from the 1.75 interest rate, and you're going to take the amount of money invested at the other interest rate, multiply by the interest rate, 0.0225. Again, change it to a decimal. So now you have a system of equations. You have two equations with two variables. This should look very familiar. So what you're going to do now is solve this. These are in standard form, so solve this with elimination. Okay, I'm going to let you take it from here, but you're going to probably most likely take this equation and use a multiplier so that one of these cancels out. Okay, you could do like a negative 0.0175 and make sure you're multiplying it by everything. All right, so if you took negative 0.0175, multiply by everything, and then add the two equations together, and your x's will cancel, and you can solve for x and y. Okay, so your answer should be two amounts that add up to $11,800. Okay, so yes, this was difficult to understand what equations they wanted. I was assuming that we needed some complicated formula calculating principal and interest, and we don't for this problem. But I think once you see this done once, the rest of them shouldn't be so hard. All right, we'll talk to you later. Thanks.